the unspeakable evil unleashed today on tiny children in Newtown, Connecticut, an elementary school ages K through 4. The target of a crazed gunman dressed head to toe in black, armed that we know of with 3 weapons, one of them being an assault rifle, unleashing his fury on 26 other people, many of them little children as young as 5 years old. We are now joined by special guest Lieutenant J. Paul Vance with the Connecticut State Police. He has been inside the school. Lieutenant, first of all, our hearts going out to everyone in your community and all of your men and women that are there working. What is happening at this hour? Are the children still in the school?
Well, this is a very painstaking process. It's a process that's going to require a great deal of man hours and manpower to really determine exactly what occurred here. In order to do this, it takes our personnel a great deal of time because we need to meticulously document everything before we make a singular move. We're going to do everything we can to expedite the identification of all the deceased for the families, and we'll do that as quickly as we possibly can.
You know, Lieutenant, you are really between a rock and a hard spot, because if there are still these little bodies in that building, the parents want them desperately. But on the other hand, when it's all said and done, the parents are going to want someday, I don't know when, they're going to want every single detail, and it's on you to process that scene and get every single detail.
You're absolutely correct, and we understand that. This is a horrific tragedy, as has been reported. We're going to do everything that we possibly can to expedite that process, but we want to be extremely meticulous in everything that we do so we don't miss a speck of anything. And unfortunately, that will take time, but we're doing our best we understand the family's hurt, the family's pain, and we're going to do everything we can to expedite this process.
You've been in the building. Do you have any idea how he got in? I'm hearing a million different reports, Lieutenant, that he shot his way in, that he used his mother's access card to get in, that he got buzzed in, that he broke in. How did this guy get in the school building?
You know, that's a question that we are going to answer. We have not answered that question as of yet. There are a number of witnesses that we're going to speak to that hopefully will cast some information on that question and be able to help us answer that question. That's a very important question because that building is secured.
You know, I'm glad to hear that, Lieutenant, that the building is secured. So that what I'm interpreting you saying is that they had a security system of some sort, that the building was secure, but somehow he managed to get in. It's not like they had the front door wide open for anybody to walk in that wanted to. So that's good to know, that the school was taking the precautions that it could take. But, you know, Lieutenant, we ask why, how? Some things you can't plan for, no matter how much you try to protect your children, yourself from. You can't always do that. How close are they, do you think, to finishing processing the scene? And how many people are in there working on the scene?
Well, there are several teams of troopers that are in there that are actually working on the scene and have been working on it for a number of hours. The medical examiner is on the scene. Suffice it to say, it's a long process. We're doing it as quickly and efficiently as we possibly can, but it truly is a long process that's underway. The most important, as we've spoken of, is identifying the victims and certainly getting that part done for the families. That's our priority right now. Certainly the second priority, as you've alluded to, is that we need to formulate that puzzle and answer every single question as to how and why this tragedy occurred.
With me, Lieutenant J. Paul Vance with the Connecticut State Police. Lieutenant, one thing many of us have been wondering about is there evidence? We have been told that as many as 100 rounds were fired off. Is there evidence that the shooter just shot wildly and happened to shoot children, or did he actually target children and intentionally shoot children?
Well, that's for our investigators to make that determination. I can tell you there were a number of rounds that were fired, and you know, we'll examine each and every one. They'll look at the trajectory, they'll look at the location of the deceased, and again, it's a painstakingly slow process, but we want to answer that question. We want to do everything we can to try to answer that question, and we certainly will do everything possible.
And Lieutenant, I know that there had to be a lot of people that risked their own lives to save the children. How did the teachers get the children out of the school, the ones that survived? And were they getting them out while the shooter was still shooting? Did they all take cover? How did they get the children out?
Well, I can't go into specific detail, but I can tell you their emergency plan worked. It was in place. As soon as the officers responded to the school, we did what we call an active shooter entry, and that is we immediately went into the school when we got teams there, and we rescued many children, many employees, many staff members, and got them out safely. But we encountered the tragedy that we encountered, and were able to do nothing about that.